time to get the dishes out. No, not those dishes. The dish you can install in your living room or just outside your home, and that will allow an entire world of television to beam down direct to home. That's what they call it, DTH television. It's a coming game, and Kathy Forrest has been following one of the entrepreneurs that's involved in that, TCOM.
Going to be doing some live tests. These dishes will be operational by mid-June.
Al Bandman is taking a giant leap into the future of television.
Okay, get closer. You got her. Just about there.
He's building this $15 million uplink to beam his Milton, Ontario company, TCOM Electronics, into the next dimension of satellite TV.
22,000 miles above the surface of the Earth, sitting there on the equator, throwing signals into North America.
Al and TCOM Vice President Murray Klippenstein are gambling they can get a new TV service up and running in Canada and the U.S. by the end of this year.
We believe there's a huge thirst for the delivery system that we're putting into place.
Imagine every home with its own 2-foot dish, pulling television straight off the satellite. No cable, no wires, no limits. This is DTH, direct-to-home service. Hundreds of channels, digital picture, CD quality sound.
His exposure to the star's radiation was minimal. Oh, very strange.
New companies are challenging cable's monopoly. They put programs up on the satellite and charge you to pull in their signals. There's a fortune to be made, and TCOM's going after it in 2 countries at the same time, spending $100 million to get their share of the profits at home and south of the border.
DTH offers us a tremendous opportunity in delivering, obviously, television to every rooftop in North America.
I don't look at the market as being anything other than a North American market.
Maybe, but it's split into 2 broadcast markets that couldn't be more different. In Canada, a paralyzing mix of politics and protectionist rules. In the U.S., freewheeling, free market competition. May 5th, Dallas, Texas. Day 1 of the U.S. National Cable Convention. Murray's here as president of TCOM's U.S. DTH venture. It's called AlphaStar.
It's getting kind of frightening. I read the, was it cable news today? There's almost 100 new services that are dying to get up.
You need 2 things to get into the DTH business: satellite space and channels. This is where you come to buy programming. That's why Murray's here. He's already booked his satellite space from AT&T, but that's all that's nailed down, and AlphaStar's due to start up December 1st.
Here we are sitting in less than the middle of May. We're 7 months before we launch the service, and we need to build our exposure in the industry at large.
To succeed in this circus, you have to get noticed.
Hope you watch my exciting program, Space Coast, Coast to Coast.
And look what it takes to get attention.
Nice move, you too.
To lure TV viewers away from his competition, Murray needs to put together a winning variety of programming: sports, movies, specialty channels. But at this show, big programmers can set their own terms. Want CNN? Turner makes you take 6 other channels, too. Other programmers work the same.
What's the problem with HBO? None, other than the fact that they're the king of the hill, and they're harder to get than the other guys.
Lunchtime. Murray's meeting with AT&T's main satellite man, Carl Savatiel.
So now I've got a whole bunch of services that want to get up. I can't afford to put them up because they don't have the space.
That's channel space on the AT&T satellite. Murray could use all his rented room on the Bird just on movies. He's losing control of his program mix.
You know, so already, what have I got? I've got 35 channels already. And there's only 3 vendors.
Gotta hire you a negotiator.
That's all movies.
For AlphaStar, business is moving too fast. Back in Canada, Murray's boss has the opposite problem. In this country, broadcasting is less a business than a political minefield. TCOM owns AlphaStar outright, but it's also got 1/3 interest in a Canadian DTH hopeful, Expressview, with partners BCE and WIC Cancom. And look what they've landed in the middle of. There's one competitor here, part American, part Power Corporation. And the Prime Minister's son-in-law is involved.
Mr. Speaker, am I to understand that the leader of the government does not want to answer because what's involved are his son-in-law's interests?
The trouble started last fall when a CRTC ruling put Expressview on the fast track.
The Broadcasting Act says we must make, quote, maximum use of Canadian creative and other resources.
The competition, Power Direct, cried foul. Cabinet overruled the CRTC. Throw in Chrétien's family connections, and everything's up in the air.
I was thinking that maybe my son should have married the Prime Minister's daughter, so I would have had a connection in Ottawa.
The process could delay Expressview's launch, and that threatens $18 million of TCOM's investors' money. Al reassures a broker.
I don't think that the government wants us to be slowed down. At least I hope they don't.
Al's got his line, and he's sticking to it. No problem. Back in Dallas, Murray's forging ahead with AlphaStar's agenda, buying TV programming.
My belief is, and the belief on the part of a lot of researchers, is that consumption goes up when choices increase.
This guy doesn't need much of a pitch. He represents the old networks like NBC, steadily losing market share. Getting beyond cable can only help.
You would be giving us a segue into a new technology and all that good stuff. We can work it out so that it's a very attractive price for you.
Cable's been king for 30 years, but satellite direct-to-home could spell cable's doom.
5 years of planning.
Cool, it's it! I love getting movies like this.
And more than $1 billion later.
Hello.
The dream has arrived.
With a blast of hype, DTH hit the U.S. market last fall. Already 1 million Americans have bought in. 2 companies are up and running. The next 2 will be AlphaStar and the company run by this man, Charlie Ergen. He seems to want to talk merger.
Well, I want to talk to you guys about AlphaStar.
Yeah?
Is that a separate U.S. company?
Yes, it is.
Is it wholly owned by TCOM?
Yes, it is.
How can we come into AlphaStar? That's what we want to do.
Has Charlie forgotten there's a film crew here?
That makes... We go up and around the ladder because, you know, who knows what happens. Who knows how all this stuff develops. Mention it to Al when you get back.
Oh, sure.
If there's any interest, give me a call.
No, we can talk.
Make AlphaStar and EchoStar compatible. AT&T is like that, too, probably.
Yep.
In a young, immensely profitable business, alliances can quickly shift. But by the end of the trade show, Murray's feeling his U.S. project is on track.
The opportunities are huge. I think the question is how successful can we be with the competitors that are out there, and how fast can we bring the cost of the equipment down so the subscriber levels will go up faster. I think it's a race for subscribers.
Milton, Ontario, 1 week later. Murray and Al meet with Ted Boyle, president of Expressview. While Murray's been lining up programming in Dallas, Ted's been lining up appointments on Parliament Hill.
You're just waiting them
Political
one at a
battles
time?
are unfolding. We're I'm meeting with 2 of the assistant deputy ministers tomorrow in Ottawa.
Try getting a business ready to roll when you're stuck in a political quagmire.
We want to be in a position where we have not only the backing of the Canadian people, of the Canadian consumer, but the backing of the Canadian government. And we think that our Made in Canada solution to DTH is one that should be backed by the government.
Spoken like a statesman, but there's a business problem. It seems 30,000 Canadians aren't waiting for Expressview or Power Direct to launch. They're already pulling in DTH from the States. It's called the gray market. Canadian dealers sell all the equipment you need, and this one says there's no stopping it.
The channels are there, they're coming in, beaming down onto us, and people are going to want to get them. And if they have to get an American address to get that, then they're going to do it. There's no way the government or any CRTC or anybody else can control that.
Yikes. Good thing TCOM's pushing full steam ahead in the U.S. Al's looking for partners there. So what about the approach in Dallas?
So are you and Charlie Ergen merging, getting together now?
No, we're not.
Why not?
Why would Charlie and I get together?
What Al really wants is American partners with deep pockets.
TCOM's genesis began with a vision.
May 24th, TCOM's annual general meeting. Share prices have been sensitive to ExpressView's uncertain launch date, but you wouldn't know that to hear Al Bandman talk.
Although my family does not extend into the Prime Minister's office, I can assure shareholders today that ExpressView will launch in September.
But while Al reassures investors, Ted Boyle's at the Senate, still pleading ExpressView's case.
Now that these CRTC rules hang in the balance, much is at stake for our new business.
Welcome to the digital age.
Back at the meeting, the video's a hit. At the party after, Murray's busy convincing investors the government wouldn't mess with TCOM's powerful partners, like BCE.
BCE? Yeah, would the government like to take on the largest single company in Canada? Would the government like to, just prior to a major issue with respect to its own political agenda, being the referendum, like to bloody its nose on another profile like the Pearson Airport fiasco? I don't know.
Murray's gambling the government won't slow ExpressView down. The shareholders are counting on TCOM savvy to pull it all off.
They think we know what we're doing.
Do you?
Of course we do. We wouldn't be here if we didn't.
This is a high-stakes game, and there's a lot of hurdles to come before TCOM finds out if there's a place for it in the future of television. For Venture, I'm Kathy Forrest.
Want to know when you look really dumb? On your cell phone, we're going to show you. Be right back.